Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello.
All engine running. Liftoff. Liftoff.
Hello, what is up, y'all? Episode number 44. One small step on the very long journey that is and will be the Interplanetary Monkeys podcast. Okay? I'm going to be real honest right off the bat, guys. I'm wasting more time than ever in my life right now. Okay? And I'm coming in hot because it's a serious issue and something that I need to be accountable for. This quarantine. The social distancing, working from home lifestyle has landed me in this rut of comfort and time wasting that is not sustainable, guys. Okay, here's the problem. Even with these distractions in place, I can perform well in grad school classes and take care of the podcast, which is all fine and dandy. Right? And I could end the thought there and say I'm fine, but I'm not. All right? I'm not working nearly as much or as hard as I could be. Yeah, chilling out and being relaxed throughout the day is a good feeling. But getting to the end of your day knowing you absolutely busted your ass is a much, much, much greater feeling. And I haven't been experiencing that recently. All right? I've been justifying my laziness by saying, well, I'm performing well. And I'm writing for the podcast. I'm putting out podcast episodes. Right? The episodes are killing it. We're growing. My grades are awesome in grad school. I'm using my familiarity with the processes and systems I'm in, right? My ability to perform in the systems I'm in as a justification for a half-assed lifestyle. And it's not good, and it's changing this week. Right when this episode releases, I'm going to be waking up probably about an hour or two after and turning a new page, right? Turning a new leaf. Now, obviously, part of this is how slow graduate school is moving and my actual lack of responsibilities to conquer. But there is undoubtedly a part of me that's not giving 100%. And that becomes obvious when I lay down in my bed at the end of the night and think about all the things that I could have done extra. Right? Those extra steps I could have taken to feel more satisfied at the end of the day, knowing that I actually, gave it my all, right? This is one of the many aspects of my person that is being targeted in this wave I'm going through of self-development. Okay, my internal drill sergeant that we talked about before, he's been very hard on me recently for whatever reason, right? If I had to put a finger on it, I'd say that I'm not very satisfied with my current rate of improvement day to day. Right? People say 1% better every day or 0.1% better every day will amount to a lot, but that's not good enough for me. I want tangible growth week to week. Right. And yeah, going to the gym every day is awesome, but I'm used to it. Right. That 1% or whatever that percentage may be isn't enough for me. Okay. I need a little bit more. And in order to get more, I need to do more. And I'm not doing that work. All right. This idea of 1% improvement really every day really isn't cutting it at the moment. Okay. And an example of another area that I need serious improvement in. I've been really trying to identify places where I can improve is my perspective, guys. My perspective is limiting me, and I'm truly starting to become worried about it. If not worried, more aware of it. All right? And I'm worried because I'm so goddamn good at justifying my decisions and my outlook on things that I'm afraid that I'm missing things in the world. Okay, the same thing that I'm, missing that extra development through extra work and stuff in day to day. I'm afraid that my ability to justify my decisions and talk my way out of certain situations is limiting me in the realm of perspective, in the lens at which I see the world. All right, what do I miss? What is the dark spot in my vision that we all have undoubtedly? Like we all have this. We've talked about duality many times on the podcast. Right? There is a duality to everything, including your perspective. right? If you're an extremely positive person, there are some negatives that come along with that perspective. You know, maybe you miss certain things. Maybe you can't understand certain topics. Right? Maybe you can't. You know, there's blind spots in whatever scope we choose to look at the world through. What am I missing as a result of the way I approach life? This is all a roundabout way of me saying, I need to have more conversations. I need to consume more content from different people with different opinions. Okay, get out of my little thought bubble and feedback loop of information that Google and YouTube algorithms push us all into. And we've talked about this before. So this week, starting at the release of this podcast, another part of the new chapter of life, I'm gonna be starting to listen to podcasts and other content that I've never listened to. Watch documentaries I would never normally watch, and try to squirm my way out of what feels like a very stable and comfortable position. Okay? What brought this perspective conversation to light was a conversation I heard last week on the Joe Rogan Experience. And Joe was talking to a Republican congressman named Wesley Hunt. This is a fantastic episode. If you're into Joe Rogan, if you're not into Joe Rogan, I would suggest watching this episode because it is well worth the time. An intelligent dude. But the point is, I initially skipped the episode. Okay? And I never skip Joe Rogan episodes. Guys, I've listened to every single episode for the last year, probably 2 years. But I skipped the episode because he was a Texas Republican. Now, I'm not a very political guy, nor do I say I have a definite affiliation, Republican or Democrat. But for whatever reason, I had this predetermined opinion on this man, on Republicans from Texas. Now, what exactly is it? I'm not sure. Maybe it's the fact that Donald Trump is a Republican and is painted as a supervillain and gives the Republican Party a bad name, so that deterred me a little bit. Maybe it's the fact that I've heard that everyone from Texas has oversized trucks. That's a put off for me. So I have a jaded opinion of Texans and how things work there and how people think there. Right? But my undeveloped perspective wrote this guy off before even listening to him talk, guys. And after 5 minutes listening to the guy, I was honestly very, very disappointed in myself for this judgment. He was one of the most genuine, powerful leaders that I've heard talk in a long time. His opinions were logical but empathetic. His opinions and proposed solutions were damn near hypnotizing. And he's just an honest dude, guys. This experience as a whole shined an incredibly bright light on the thought perspective bubble that I have found myself in, or that I've placed myself in. And I will feel very shitty about myself if I just sit here knowing there's a kink in my armor and not do anything about it. Not try to patch up the armor. Right? We need to develop. I need to branch out my perspective. Okay, so we have no choice but to venture into some unknown territory in the months to come. Get out of the bubble. You know, expand the way we think. The fact that I was so against listening to this guy's content, hearing his perspective, putting predetermined tags on this man as not logical or very conservative or just very extreme and very like he's going to be talking about guns the whole time. It was just so disappointing, guys. You know, it was really, really a disappointing moment for me, especially because this guy provided an insane amount of information and topics that I lacked in. Right? He was one of the first logical speakers that presented very, very hypnotizing ideas from the Republican side. For a second, I was like, oh, wait, right? I'm in an institution. I work in universities, so it's very democratic, right? I get this very biased perspective of the world that, you know, anything that's not democratic is not logical. But this is like, oh, wait, Republicans are not illogical. The bias that I'm getting from the university isn't necessarily right. I'm not right. Okay. So it really, really opened my not only my mind to the world of politics, but perspectives and limits and my blind spots and how the way I live my life, who I surround myself with, dictates what I gain and what I miss in life. And I think that's a valuable thing to recognize. And I'm glad I did recognize it. And I'm glad we're aware of an issue that we need to attack. Okay. As we talked about last week, guys, I've been diving into Stranger Things. It consumed my life. Luckily, I finished it, so now I have time to do other human activities. But a genuine question arises from my time on Stranger Things. Okay? And it is, can anyone tell me why crying feels so good? And I'm not talking negatively inspired tears or tears of sadness. I'm talking about those light tears that you get at the end of a Stranger Things season, right? Those tears that blindside you at the end of a Pixar movie. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you haven't lived, pal. Okay? But if you do know what I'm talking about, you know it's an absolutely incredible feeling. And I've been genuinely interested in this idea of crying since my Stranger Things emotional experience. How weird is it? You know, I'm going to put it in a very weird lens here. How weird is it that water oozes out of our eyeballs when we are sad? Right? I know this is a weird perspective, but it's really what happens. Right? Why is it that water oozes out of our eyes when we are sad? Why would the body want to do this? Well, it's a strange thing. It's been mystifying me all week. And it's not random, guys. These things aren't random, right? It's not random that you ooze water out of your skin when you're hot. Right? It's a mechanism by which the body uses to cool itself. It's called sweating, and it has evolved to be a part of the human system because it's a good way of cooling blood flowing near the skin. So if that's the case, then there must be some type of drive or reason behind this idea of crying, but what could it possibly be? I started emailing professors from undergrad, evolutionary biologists. I was going crazy, guys. And I dove in, obviously, and things got interesting. Okay, so first off, humans are the only creatures who cry emotional tears. Other animals cry, but not from emotions. It's all extreme pain, right? Extreme pain or irritation. And the reason a human would actually shed tears when emotional, no one really knows, or no one is claiming a definitive answer. I read an article from a top-tier neurologist and proclaimed world leader in crying, and he admits that the reason is not officially known. But this is one of those scientific things, guys. This is one of those scientific things where people don't want to make solid claims, right? They don't want to put themselves out there and say something that could potentially be proved wrong in the future. So I did some thinking of my own, right? I did some personal research. I reached out to some people and got some answers, okay? Made a couple of phone calls, talked to some top-tier evolutionary biologists, combined that with some of my own thinking, and here's where we landed. Okay? Crying is simply a powerful communication tool. Think about it. There's really no physical benefit we get from crying, right? The tears don't moisturize our face or improve eyesight. So a physiological reason for crying is not there. But tears do elicit or create a powerful response from other humans. And specifically, they elicit a strong response from your loved ones and close family. Okay? It seems most likely that crying is the most extreme way a human or a loved one can tell you, I need help. And let's be honest, it's very effective. If you don't feel drawn to helping a crying human, especially a crying relative, you are most likely a serial killer. Okay? It's innate. It hits you on a deeper level. Right? It is the most powerful communication tool. Also, to even add more legitimacy to this theory, it turns out that people who are alone more often or isolated more cry less. Right? Hopefully the dots are connecting. If you are isolated, there was no one around to assist you, making a communication method like crying almost useless. Right? Crying by yourself is not a good move, especially when you're isolated in a survival state, one would say. Isn't this interesting, guys? I was so satisfied when I came across this answer. So question answered. We ooze water from our eyes as a last-ditch method of retrieving help from other humans. All right, so shout out to technology, shout out to the internet, the friendly people for making this answer happen. And honestly, guys, can you imagine living in a time far ago where you would have to just sit on a question like this your entire life? Where you didn't have computers or the internet, you had to travel by horse and buggy or fucking walk everywhere, right? Our ancestors were living blind, friends. Our ancestors were living absolutely blind. Okay? And I don't know if you guys watched the debate last week. Hopefully you at least checked it out. I would say personally that the last week's debate between Biden and Trump, the final presidential debate, was much more enjoyable compared to the first one. You could tell that Donald Trump talked to a team, switched up his tactics a little bit, was trying to be a little more of a respectful human, right? He didn't come off nearly as unstable or out of the box. He was throwing compliments, shutting up when it wasn't his turn, simping for the moderator, telling her she's doing a very good job and so on. Regardless of Donald Trump's tweaks and performance shifts, I really enjoyed the debate as a whole, much more than any of the previous two, just because it seemed more logical, right? Again, we have this issue of we don't know what are facts and what aren't, right? Turns out if you watch any further, if you stay on those media websites, they have fact checkers that go through and pretty much invalidate every single thing that's said from both sides. So I don't know what's true. I don't know what's false. And it's just so hard to unpack, guys. It's such a confusing thing. Okay. But before we get into the actual logistics and trying to find a stance on it, I thought that the debate was good overall. The dynamics of the two is hilarious. It's entertaining regardless. It's so funny when Joe Biden says something and it hits Donald Trump's ego and he just absolutely slams Biden. That stuff is funny. When he brought up the stock market, or he brought up raising money, and he's talking about I could break all your records. I could raise so much fucking more money than you. Okay, and I choose not to. I enjoy that stuff. One thing I will say, whatever drug they give Joe Biden to be a functioning human being and to perform on that stage started to wear off as we approach the end of that debate. Okay, I'm sure there's someone analyzing this on YouTube or online, but this man's energy was dwindling as we approached the end of it, and it was strikingly obvious. Right? People are making jokes that the adrenochrome that they give Joe Biden is wearing off near the end. But that much was very, very obvious. Things like that are a little unsettling, especially when I'm thinking about someone who's going to run the country. Right? You need to be sustained. You have to be a functioning human. Why are all the politicians that we want to elect for president 87 years old? Like, it doesn't make any sense, guys. Can we get some 40-year-old functioning humans in there? They will be around for another 20, 30 years? Like, damn. Say what you want about the political beliefs of Obama, President Barack Obama, but that man was a goddamn legend as a human. You listen to that guy talk and you want to fucking kiss him on the lips. That was a little aggressive. But dude, he's a respectful guy. Okay? He's articulate and he's methodical with his words. And he has this ability to bring people together and to make people believe. He's very strong. He gives off a vibe of stability. And he comes off as a hero. As educated. And then you look at our options this year and it's like, what is going on, man? Again, throw political points of view out the window. I'm just talking about leadership qualities that I expect from a man or woman that wants to run the most powerful country in the world. And you want to put an orange Cheeto up there who has a ego as big as Texas? Or you want to throw a pale white dude up there who is just struggling to stay alive? Are these really our best options? Can we get some fucking winners in the election coming up? Can we get some champions, some leaders? I just don't understand, guys. I just absolutely don't understand. But as far as the political side of the debate and actually, me trying to form an opinion on this, what do I believe? What am I learning from these debates? Is anything any different? Does my point of view shift? Guys, the more I learn about politics, the more confused I get. The more I learn, the more I can't decide which side of the political aisle I'm on, which side of the color chart I sit. And it's a hard time right now to be in this position. Right now, these political debates are not a good way to decide your vote because how could they be? You don't know what's real. It turns out if you watch the channels afterwards, the fact checkers are saying a majority of the information is fake or lies or just clippable segments. No one defends accusations, and you have no idea what accusations are true or just said to get clipped and spread across the internet. I'm learning that it takes a lot of work to form your political opinions in an educated way, and this is problematic for me because I don't want to start talking about politics. I don't want to share political views on the podcast if I don't have an analytical, logical approach to explain them in my point of view, let alone vote and actually take action on my opinions. Right? It takes so much work to form political opinions. Let's just look at one small example. Climate change is a journey to conquer as a topic itself. All right? If we want to be thorough on this question and how we want to deal with it as a society, are we more Republican or Democratic when approaching climate change? Right? Well, it seems both sides agree that anthropogenic climate change is real, that humans are influencing climate and warming the earth. But what side do I think is doing it best? Do we just kick fossil fuels out and tank the economy? Or do we not prioritize that and prioritize the economy a little more? So, right, how do different parties approach climate change? And how do Biden and Trump differ from their general parties' opinions? And how do they differ from each other? Guys, who has the most logical approach and so on? This is half the list of questions for climate change alone. And after you answer all these questions, you've made it 1/25th of the way towards declaring a political party. Here is my issue. It takes so much work. And I'm realizing this now because there's so much the weight behind this election. This is the first time I'm an adult during an election. You know, I'm just scratching the surface. I'm just clearing the fog off the window and seeing what kind of fucking animal party is going on inside. Okay? It's a lot. It's a lot, guys. And because it is so much, and because I'm not prepared for this election, I can't help but feel like my vote is anything but a random coin flip. And I ultimately feel like I'm not doing my part, and I feel a little guilty about that. So we're working on it, guys. We're absolutely working on it. All right, we have 4 years to prepare for the next one, though. So that's good. All right. And that's good. I want to hear your guys' opinions on the election, or yeah, take it political if you want. Do whatever the hell you want, okay? Hit the hotline, IP Monkeys hotline, 602-892-4371. Take it political. Talk about the election. Talk about where you think the world's going. Or talk about evolutionary biology and the reason behind crime. Or talk about your strain right now with mental health and your ability to find a good groove to get into. Talk about your inability to get out of the rut you're in. Talk about the girl that just fucking broke your heart, okay? I'm not kidding, guys. Hit the hotline. Come in. Let's talk about some things. I had so much fun last week, guys, with the viewership involvement. It was a real joy for me. Okay, I really enjoyed that. I saw a seed planted of something that's very beautiful. And I will say that, you know, this is an original idea. I see what the final product of something like this is. Right? Someone like some podcasts like This Past Weekend with Theo Vaughn. It's one of my favorite podcasts, and it's very similar style to our podcast here, IP Monkeys. It's just very, you know, not very focused on a general topic, more of just discussion based and playful. And then they have a hotline where viewers call in every week. You know, I see the potential of this idea, this project's growth, the hotline, the viewership involvement. And it gets me really excited, guys, to actually get that first little taste. Okay, and that podcast I just mentioned is called This Past Weekend with Theo Vaughn, guys. It is a good fucking podcast if you're looking for some more audio content to consume. I want to talk about why are podcasts interesting, guys? Because if we boil this down, not only what I'm doing here, but what a lot of fucking people are doing, making a lot of money off of, is simply just talking and communicating. Okay? When you really boil down what's going on in these podcasts, it's me processing life outwardly for the public to hear. And what I'm doing is not really unique as a general idea, right? I bring my unique perspective. I bring my unique take on life. And personally, I've watched a lot of podcasts, and I've never seen a podcast like ours. And I'm very proud of that. But as a general idea, I'm watching podcast or listening to podcasts where people are just like you guys are listening to this, outward processing. Why is it so entertaining? Why is podcasting taking off on Earth through humanity? Why is it becoming such a popular thing? Right? I get everyone can start it, but 95% of podcasts don't get past episode 7. And a majority of podcasts are underproduced and aren't well thought out because it is so easy to create. But listenership, guys, the amount of people that listen to, why is it so popular? This is something I'm seeking to answer, and maybe you guys can give feedback, or maybe you guys have a point of view based on the reason you listen to this podcast or other podcasts. If I really boiled it down, guys, I think there's some kind of aspect of it that makes you feel like you're in the room with a friend. It makes you almost feel like, and I don't mean this in an emotional sense, but it almost makes you feel like you're not alone. Right? If I'm walking around the house, cleaning up, listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, I feel like I'm in the room with two very smart individuals while I'm washing the dishes, just listening to an educated conversation. Right? And I personally love hearing other people's perspectives and ideas with things. I love hearing how other people decide to tell certain stories, especially people like comedians or experienced podcasters who have very, very good storytelling abilities. I'm very, very attracted to that, guys. So I'm just curious what it is about podcasting, something that is so seemingly simple, so seemingly basic and unentertaining, is having success, not only here in IP Monkeys, but across the world. What is it about the phenomena that really gets people going? I think it's the idea of, I think we're just attracted to good conversation. I think there's something about, especially when we're on our own or isolated at home or on a run, there's something about feeling like you're a part of a bigger conversation, a more in-depth conversation. And that's just my perspective, guys. But once again, guys, if you have any thoughts, I don't want to force the number too much, and I know I am really fucking cramming it down your throat right now. But if you have any thoughts on this, you want to help me out in these thought loops, the hotline is 602-892-4371. You'll be directed to a voicemail. You'll leave a voicemail. It should be all pretty much explained in the voicemail or the voicemail recording that you'll be directed to before you actually record. And it shows up right on my computer and I can play it next week on the episode. Okay. How am I doing, guys? I cannot complain. I'm finally meeting people here out in Arizona, and it's a beautiful thing. Right? To be honest with you guys, things are getting a little lonely. I moved right before COVID happened, and I was slacking on my social outreach before quarantine ended any possibility of that happening, and things are getting a little lonely. A little heady. We were spending a lot of time in the inner capsules of our medulla oblongata, aka deep down in the brain, which, don't get me wrong, is an awesome and necessary thing. But too much of anything, there needs to be a balance between personal inner processing and interaction fun with other humans. And I'm finally finding that balance, okay? And it's been a journey. And it's an interesting journey because I feel like most people tend to lean the opposite direction, right? This balance between personal inner processing and interaction fun with other humans tends to lean towards too much interaction fun with other humans and not enough sitting by yourself and processing what the fuck is going on in your head. Right? Anybody that says they cannot be alone or always has to be with someone or always has to be listening to music, has a hard time sitting in their thoughts, makes me extremely nervous to be around. Okay? And that's something that has become very, very obvious in the real world. Right? I was talking to a friend, and they said that, especially here when I was moving to Arizona, you have to love yourself. You have to get really good at being by yourself, get really comfortable with who you are, really fall in love with yourself before you can branch out and start finding a social group or community. And I think that's 100% true. All right? Because once you do love yourself, once you're very comfortable with who you are, and there's no question of self-expression around every corner, you're 100% you all the time. You're not trying to fill a mold or what you want to be or what you think you should be. You're yourself. Now your friend group becomes extremely genuine. Now when you enter the social world, when you go out to meet people, you know what you're looking for. also, you know that if anybody wants to hang out with you, that they want to hang out with you, not this fake facade you're putting on for other people. Okay? I think that's the beauty of it. Not only is it easier to hang out with yourself or more enjoyable to be in your head, but you're attracting people that know who you are and want to be around you. Right? And I've talked about this before, but it creates a very light feeling in life, guys. It creates a very light feeling in life. And I've personally experienced that. It's a beautiful experience, and I've talked about it quite a bit on here. Guys, yesterday I finished my journal that started January 1st. This journal was made for the start of Interplanetary Monkeys, and today I finished it. It's been around 10 months, and it's been a beautiful thing, guys. Here's the first page if you're watching on video. These are Interplanetary Monkeys' first episode title ideas when we were more of a science podcast. We had no idea what the fuck was going on. We just knew we wanted to get in front of a mic. But yeah, it's so crazy to have a book of how I thought each and every day, the things I had to do each and every day, pretty much for the last 10 months. Right, and I'm excited to start a new journal. Right, and on the last page of the journal, I wrote a little conclusion for my time. Right, this page of life that this journal represents. And it was a very, very beautiful experience, guys. So I have the last page, right, from January 1st, 2020 to October 23rd, 2020, around 10 months, right? And I decided to take some of the big major points of growth. What have I really gained since the time that I started this journal? Throughout what kind of growth does this journal represent in me? Okay, IP Monkeys launch and growth. Beautiful, guys. Body transformation. Right, my body went to the next level this year. I got into the competitive world of a single adult male out of college, and the game was changed. I also upgraded my nutrition. Started working out like a goddamn maniac to get out of my head. All right, number 3, a passion for nutrition and exercise evolves. 100% speaks for itself. Social life in AZ grows. Finally, guys, this is more in month 8 or 9. All right, this is a long time coming. And we were walking a fine line of mental health there for a little bit, but we're here. Scheduling, journaling, upgraded, right? And we've talked about scheduling. If you follow my Instagram, you see that I'm always fucking documenting everything. Speaking, storytelling has developed insanely, guys. I've noticed it personally. Post-recording of these episodes, the length of the episodes is increasing. My articulation, my ability to play with words and hop from topics and go off the loose script we have is developing. This is just a celebration of the last 10 months of my achievements, right? A year of incredible challenges, meaning a year of incredible growth. The takeaway, this is writing from I decided to write a little motivational something to my future self. A year of incredible challenges means a year of incredible growth. The takeaway is ... patience. Stay on your path. Many men have invested far more for far less. Stay on your path. Keep the vision. Keep dreaming and enjoy yourself, motherfucker. The clock is ticking, and you have many more dreams and goals that haven't left your head yet. Stay patient and stay hungry. And we have finished, friends. That is the end of our 10-month journal. And it's a beautiful thing, guys. The number one theme for my life that I've learned at the age of 23 is patience. 100% patience. A constant reminder of how old I am or how young I am. Right? Especially in a very wealthy part of the nation where people are living very fruitfully and flexing and everyone's a fucking supermodel, and you just got to remind yourself of the journey you're on and stay patient, because I truly believe if we stay on this path, those things will come. Right? And if they don't come, other better things will come, guys. Patience, patience, patience. Right? Have faith in the path, guys. All right? All right. I think we're going to end it there, guys. Call in if you guys are feeling frisky. If you want to conversate, next week I'll throw you on guaranteed. Other than that, guys, shine on. All right, simply shine on. That's it for this week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys. This is Hunter Klein, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.